Hello everyone. It has been a while, I think 3 months since my last upload, and I want to apologise, first of all. You know, I said I'd be making regular uploads, and then I didn't. So I'd like to apologise for that. And I've seen a lot of comments, actually, over the past couple of weeks, people commenting on videos and commenting on the content, and a few people saying, you know, I'm hoping to see some more stuff, and some people speaking about cigars and asking for recommendations. And you know, I was out with some friends the other day, and one of them said he's still making those videos. They were good. I was watching those. And so, you know, it's been a difficult couple of months for me personally. If you remember, I think if you watched one of the last couple of videos I uploaded, I said that I might be moving, and that fell through. That never happened. And then financially, been struggling a little bit, and so I've still been smoking cigars, but the quality's been up and down, and I've not really been in the mindset to be making videos. I kind of was in this period between like February and March where it just wasn't good for me, and then April I was just getting back on my feet and stuff, and we're in a decent place now, I think. I did make a video a couple of days ago that I was going to post. And it was about a haul of cigars, the 14-something cigars that I had arrived, and a little bit of a chat and stuff. And I recorded it and I edited it. And then I realised I recorded it vertical. So I didn't post it, and I've been sat there thinking, you know, when am I gonna make another video? I smoked a cigar earlier today. I had a little Michelero Cigars. That was a lovely smoke. But today I do have a cigar to review. I also have a whiskey here that I'm going to make a video on straight afterwards for review. And you're going to get a little cheeky beer review as well. It has at the start of this video before we get into the cigar. I know my beard's looking a bit dishevelled and a bit full. And I've noticed these spots on my head. Don't worry, I went out and bought some good quality face wash today. So hopefully these should be going. And I'll be getting a haircut this coming week. It's currently Saturday evening as I make this video. Same setup as we always are in. I have my cigars, my ashtray. I've got a pint glass that did have a pint in it about 2 hours ago. So it's not the cleanest pint glass in the world because it had a pint in it a couple of hours ago, but I'm not cleaning it. Let's get on with this like impromptu beer review. At the Co-op, they had some beer on clearance. Now this is, as you can see here, there we are. This is Old Crafty Hen from Moreland. Is it Moreland? Yeah, Moreland Brewery. I love a beer, and this was 85p a bottle. So I bought a couple because I couldn't remember if I like it or not, and I should have bought more because I actually really enjoy it. Let's get this poured into my glass. My not clean glass, because again, there was a pint in it a mere few minutes ago. Let's get a bit of head on it now, come on. Bit of froth on the beer. Not a lot of froth, a little bit of froth. Lovely stuff. This is a Star Primer glass. I should really be drinking it out of an ale glass, but I can't be asked getting it, and I like a glass with a handle. I'm not going to give you all the ins and outs, I'm not a beer reviewer, but it's 6.5%. It's aged in oak barrels. It's just a really, really nice ale. Sweet, caramelly, malty, biscuity ale. Really, really good. And I have a whiskey next to me, and I'll be pouring a bit of this as well, because I do want a bit of whiskey while I smoke. But I'm going to be doing a full review on this to go up tomorrow. This video is going to go up, technically Sunday morning, but Saturday night. The moment I finish the video, I'll be putting it up, and then I'll be doing the review after I've had the whiskey, after I've had the cigar. So I'll probably smoke the cigar through, and then do a review on this bad boy here. You can see I've drank quite a lot of it. This is Elijah Craig. That's how they pronounce it in America. I know it says Elijah Craig, but it's pronounced Elijah Craig. 1789 Kentucky bourbon. So I'm going to pour a bit of that, but I will be doing a full review on this. That will be going up Sunday morning probably. So, but I do want a glass of that to drink while we're smoking. So, what are we smoking? Well, as part of my as part of the order I got, I'll go over it now because unless you guys tell me, okay, I want to see that video, it's a 30-minute long video and all I'm doing is talking about a bunch of cigars that I got. And I'm going to tell you what I got now. I got a Michelero sampler pack. It was 7 cigars for 35 quid or something. It was one of each size. And I've only ever had the Corona, so it was good to try other sizes. And I've still got a few left. And I'll probably try and do a review on either the Novellini or the Robusto. I'm not sure yet. One of the two. I had a La Unica 100. I had an Aging Room Quattro Maestro Nicaragua Torpedo cigar. Very nice cigar. Very, very good cigar. I smoked that the other day. I got a couple of cigars from a company called Aging Room Cigars called Swag. Very old brand. I don't think you can get them anymore. But they're quite nice, and I got a couple of those. I actually do have some quite interesting cigars, Cuban cigars that I got off somebody I know. I'll say somebody I know, somebody I got in touch with. I might end up doing a review on those, we'll see. But this is what I wanted to do a review on today, because it's the second cigar I've had today. I'm having today, and I've not had anything from this, but I've not had any of these cigars before. This is, you can hopefully see that there. This is the Puffin cigar. Now this cigar is the Corona. Now they call it a skinny. I've got my computer right behind me here. This is the skinny. This was £12 on Cigars. I'm yet to see them on any other website because, like Michelero, they're Cigars brand, but then eventually they get sold out like Michelero did, and other suppliers have them. Now this is supposed to be kind of the mid-range brand. This costs £12. You can buy their Chubby, which is a 4x60. And then you can buy the Shorty, which I believe is a Robusto. Yeah, the 5x50. For 14, the Chubby is $13.79. And the Skinny, this one is called the Corona, is £12. Now, this is a Honduran Puro. So that means all the tobacco, the binder, filler, and wrapper is all Honduran. It doesn't tell me what type of tobacco. I mean, this is the Cigars website. It has very little information, which I'm not happy about, to be honest, because, you know, if you're releasing your own brand, I want to know what the seed is. I want to know where the farm is. You know, I want, like if good coffee and good wine and good whiskey and good beer, you want it to be traceable. You want to know where it's coming from and what it is. I understand some brands don't do that. I know the Cuban brands don't do that. But come on, this is supposed to be a mid-range, reasonably budget cigar. You know, £12 for a Corona is cheap in the UK. It's a 5x43 Corona, so it's slightly shorter but slightly fatter Corona. So I guess it equals out. There's some very, very minor tasting notes. They come in boxes of 10, which, you know, they look fine. It's like a black wooden box with a little clasp on it. Now, I'll be honest, there is one cigar that this needs to beat for me. You know, one single cigar, and that is, my other monitor here, that is the GQ Tobacco 2 Smoking Barrels. I'm just getting up the price now. Where is 2 Smoking Barrels on here? There it is. Now, 2 Smoking Barrels, I don't think I've done a review on it here. They are the mid-range brand, the premium brand for GQ Tobaccos. GQ Tobaccos has a Dutch range, like Cigars do. They have their Concepcion and Playa Madeiras range, which is basic, which is their Michelero. It's their budget you know, cheap cigars, but long filler, good quality. And then they have two smoking barrels, which is where are they from? It should say, I think it's Nicaraguan. They're Nicaraguan, but they have a Connecticut shade wrapper on them. So, and these guys, it tells you where the tobacco's sourced from. Very good. Now the Toro is £13, which is, I mean, that's a very good price for a Toro. The Robusto is £11.49. So this for me has to beat the £11.49 Toro, right, or be on par with it. You know, it's £12. This has to be on par with it. And the boxes that the two smoking barrels come in, they look very similar, slightly less intricate. You know, I will say I think the band on this cigar, if you can look at it, is not very good. I don't know if your camera wants to focus. It's like a little puffin. It's a lot of writing. I'm not a fan of it. Let us cut it. I do have my Cigars branded double-bladed thingy cutter here. So we're going to cut it. I'm going to try and use a soft flame on this to start with, though I do have a very small cut on the cap there. Perfect draw. Quite dry on the draw. Yeah, quite dry. A little bit grassy almost. Kind of leathery as well. Let us get this lit. I have a quite beat up the Jeep flame lighter here. I think these are some of the best budget flame lighters you can get. They last forever. They last so long. And they have a decent sized flame on them. Can I turn the flame up actually? I want to get nice. There we are. So for me, again, I want this cigar to last an hour at least. I mean, it's saying 45 minutes online, but I'm a slower smoker. I'm expecting an hour out of this cigar at least. And I want this to be a really nice cigar. I want the espresso, the nutmeg, the almonds, and the cacao. I want all of that. That's what it's promising me. For £12, you know, you want a lot, don't you? For £12, when options are out there, you know, options are out there in the UK for very decent cigars at that price. You know, I smoked a Michelero Chicos earlier. Very nice little cigar, little 35-minute smoke for me as a slower smoker. There we are. There we go. Let's give it a puff. Okay, it's quite nice. Instantly, I can tell this is Honduran. And you know why I can tell it's Honduran? If you're in the UK, you and you're a cigar smoker, there is an almost 100% chance that you have smoked the Latin Victor Honduran cigar. It's a green band. They are sold pretty much everywhere. Like all the cigar shops will have them. For me, they're okay. But they have this kind of slightly kind of light, leathery, kind of grassy dry note that I don't think's very palatable in a cigar, to be honest. It's the first draw. I'm going to give it another draw. I'm going to retrohale it, and we'll see what we get. Nice second draw. There's a bit more nut there, and a bit more. There's kind of there is a light coffee note. I wouldn't exactly call it espresso. There is that dryness still. On the retrohale, there's a little tiny bit of spice. It's not strong at all. Oh, a little bit of chocolate as well on the retrohale, which is quite nice. Not strong at all. I can retrohale a big chunk of that. I'm going to actually try retrohaling the whole puff. One sec. Yeah, not strong at all. It's got some nice chocolate notes actually. Some actually really nice chocolate notes. It says nutmeg on here. I can see that. It's got that kind of Honduran, that kind of light to medium Honduran dryness. That I'm not a massive fan of, but that might just be the start of the cigar. I'm expecting perfect construction here. Micheleros generally have really good construction. I think all the Cigars branded stuff does. So I'm hoping very good construction here. But yeah, I mean, decent first impressions. Honduran cigar, bit of dryness, but really nice chocolate notes. A little bit of leather, a little bit of, it says nutmeg, and I can see that. I can see that in there. I will be back after I've drunk a little bit more beer and then a little sip of whiskey, and I'll be back after the first third. I'll tell you my thoughts on how the cigar's going. See you then. And we are back, people. We're about a third in, as you can see. It's been about 20 minutes. I'm thinking my camera's over here. It's here. It's been about 20 minutes since I lit up the cigar. And it's been a pretty good smoke so far. It's burnt well. I've tapped the ash off once. Flavour wise, it's more of the same of what we're getting in the first. A little bit increase in spice, a bit of the increase in leather. The dryness isn't there anymore, which is I'm happy about. And I didn't expect there to be any because of the colour of this wrapper. You can see that this wrapper is kind of a nice medium brown colour. The Land Victor Honduran cigars have a very light coloured wrapper on them, and I don't know if it's a shade wrapper or if it's just you know, a light coloured wrapper of another type. But when I picked up this cigar and looked at it, and it had this nice medium brown wrapper on, and again, we don't actually know what seed type the wrapper is. You know, we don't know if it's a Criollo or a Corojo, or you know, trying to think of a wrapper taps off the top of my head. I mean, it's definitely not a Maduro or a broadleaf. You know, it's not Matafina. It looks like Habano, sun-grown. You know, it's not going to be Sumatran. So, it'd be nice to know, though, what it is. It's a medium-bodied wrapper. And you don't expect those dry notes normally from it. That you get kind of those drier, grassier, slightly floral notes. Now, the write-up, the very short write-up on Cigars, did say it had floral notes, but I'm not really getting those. Not getting those at all. The cocoa is still there. Kind of the dark chocolatiness. The earth. There's a little bit of earth mixed with that leather. There's still a nuttiness. And the smoke isn't creamy, but it's just not dry and not acrid. Acrid's the wrong word, because it's not negative. It's just a palate thing. For me, though, so far, it's not blowing me away. For £12, it's not blowing me away. There are cigars out there that, for me, are worth their weight at this price point. This currently isn't beating the Two Smoking Barrels Robusto. Not just because that's a bigger cigar and will last longer, you know, but and is actually slightly cheaper than this, but also because the flavour isn't there for me. What do I want out of a medium-bodied but smooth Honduran cigar? Well, I want really, really good complexity of flavour is what I want, and I want those flavours to be prominent. And it's probably subtle enough that they're not blowing my palate out, but I want them to be prominent. I want to smoke it, and I want to be able to taste cocoa and nutmeg and almond and all these notes. And I want, you know, there to be a nice back spice, and I want the smoke to be a bit creamier, to be honest. I am getting good flavour, but they're very subtle. The flavours I'm getting are very subtle, and the complexity of flavour really isn't there for me. You know, you're looking at 3 to 4 notes. For me, if you're asking me what's a complex cigar, I want to be pulling out 6 or 7 notes out of that cigar. I want to be smoking the cigar and be able to pick off 6 or 7 different things. And even if I can't, I want to smoke it and be able to, what's that? What's that flavour? Why can't I? And I'm not getting that with this cigar. It's very, very pleasant. Very pleasant. And I'm sure once we get past this band into that last third, it'll become the best the cigar has to offer. Because I'm expecting a nice kick up in strength, and with that, a nice kick up in flavour. It's very pleasant. And I think maybe if you're getting into cigars, you're a beginner, these would be a perfectly pleasant smoke. So far for me though, would I buy another one of these? Maybe, but not over other cigars. Not over the Hoyo de Nicaragua Classico B. A cigar that's around this price range and is 2 or 3 leagues better. The Two Smoking Barrels Toro is a brilliant, brilliant cigar, and I would smoke that. Even something like Regis, obviously it's Nicaraguan. I'm trying to think if there's anything in the Honduran range. Honduras for me, their cigars aren't my cup of tea a lot of the time. There are some great Honduran cigars, and there are some really good cigars out there with Honduran tobacco. Plasencia makes their Cosecha range, I think, range, where it's all from one farm. That is brilliant. The Honduran cigars in that range, brilliant. And there are other Honduran cigars I can't name exactly off the top of my head, but I do enjoy. For me so far, this is a little bit lackluster for what I was expecting for, what was said to be, this is the medium budget. This is the good, slightly more premium than Michelero. For me, honestly, the Michelero Peru, 10 times better than 10 times is probably an exaggeration. Better than this. The Michelero Peru is more complexity of flavour. It's a slightly stronger cigar, sure, but I think even a novice, someone new to smoking could enjoy a Michelero Peru. The Michelero Peru has such good flavour and a lot of flavour. I think there's 5, 6, 7 flavours in that cigar. Especially when you look at some of the smaller but fatter engages of the Michelero Peru. This for me isn't better than the Michelero Peru, which has failed at its task. I'm hoping that I get down to this last third and I'm burning my fingers and I want to get every last puff out of it. But we will see. I'm going to keep smoking, I'm going to keep drinking, and I will be back in a few seconds with the final third of this cigar. We're down to the last bit of this cigar. I've been smoking through the final third for a little while now. I mean, it's been a decent length of smoke. I mean, I can check actually, let me check. We're looking at around an hour-ish. It has smoked quite quick. I've had Coronas that have smoked slower than this. I mean, an example of a Corona that is the same size as this, maybe slightly longer, but has smoked considerably longer, is the Quorum Corona, which is a 5. I think it's a 5.5. Let's have a look, shall we? Yeah, it's a 5.5 by 43, so you got that ½ inch extra, which is massive, by the way. And that's giving you a bit of extra time. But even with those, I've got those to an hour 20 minutes, hour 25 sometimes, because they're very well packed cigars, even though they are mixed filler. This has felt, as I've been smoking it, that it's been burning reasonably quick, especially through that first and second third. It slowed down a little as I got to this third, but that's that's because I've slowed down. Flavour wise, in this last bit, I mean, it's a lot darker now. The leather's really at the forefront. And then we're getting, you know, that chocolate is basically gone. The sweetness is gone. There's no coffee. That dryness is still there in texture, not in flavour, but in texture. You know, if I have a look at what they say online, it says roasted almonds and cocoa and cacao. I don't get that, not at all. I think I got nuttiness and chocolate actually at the start of the cigar. And for me, weirdly, the first third of this cigar was probably the best. After that initial couple of puffs, when you get rid of that kind of grassy, dry flavour, and you're retrohaling every puff, you actually get some really nice flavour, some really nice chocolate, a nice bit of leather, a little bit of spice. The second third for me was a little bit boring because the chocolate kind of dulls down, you don't get as much of it. It's still there, but not a lot. The leather picks up. You also got that nutmeg in that first third, which kind of goes away as well. And then you get this third, and it's a lot of leather, and it's a lot of leather, and a little bit of earth, a little bit of sweetness is still there, but it's not chocolatey, and it's not nutty. It's kind of just kind of a broader, generic sweetness. And I don't know if that's even, it might be coming from the fact that I'm drinking quite a sweet malty ale or quite a sweet bourbon as well. For me, I'm going to keep smoking because it's not got bitter. And I'll say that construction has been perfect. There's been no problems. Besides, I think it burning quite quick because it's not super tightly packed. Like, the way it's burned and the draw has been fine and perfect. And flavour-wise, it's not bitter or acrid or anything like that. Completely smooth. I think this is a cigar a lot of people will like. I think a lot of people will buy these and really like them. Especially maybe people who don't smoke cigars all the time. I think people who are maybe more intermittent smokers. This would be a really nice cigar. Is this a cigar that I would buy for a wedding? No. I wouldn't buy this cigar for a wedding personally. I think it comes in a nice box, but I think two smoking barrel cigars look better and are bigger and cheaper than these. You can get a box of 10. I think wedding cigars, for me, you're buying weddings for maybe, you're buying weddings. You're buying cigars for, like if you're buying a box of cheap cigars, you're buying it for, you know, people who smoke and want to enjoy the occasion, and anything special for maybe your best man and your groomsman you buy separate. I want to buy these for that. I wouldn't buy these as a gift for somebody who smokes cigars because I try to understand their palate. They're very smooth and they're nice. I think the only people these appeal to really are those people who don't smoke all the time, who maybe smoke once a week or twice a week, who don't smoke cigarettes or anything either, and so their only smoking is cigars, and they want to smoke cigars on occasion, and they don't have a massive budget. These are lovely. They're very pleasant, but they don't challenge you in any way. There's no massive complexity in any way, and while they're a perfectly pleasant smoke, potentially a, you know, what people call a daily driver, a daily smoke, I think for me, if I had a box of these, I'd get very bored after the third or fourth one. You know, maybe it's different with the Robusto or with the like short Gordo 4x60, one of my favourite sizes. Maybe it's different there, but for me, I think the flavours of the Michelero range, the baseline red band Michelero range, is better. There's a bit more earth and a bit more sweetness there for me. I don't know. I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest. It's not been a bad smoke, but I just expected a bit more from this cigar. I expected a bit more, not because of the price. It's a cheap cigar. It's £12. But I'm comparing it to even cheaper cigars now. The J. Cortez Honduran in the orange tube. For me, that's got better flavour notes, specific flavour notes. It's less complex, it's smaller, but I think it lasts about an hour for me. You can probably get it down to about 40-45 minutes. It's not a quick smoke by any means, but it's not a short smoke. And a short filler. But for me, the flavour profile from those J. Cortez, it only has maybe 3 notes. Very similar to this. This probably has 4 or 5 across the entire cigar, but never more than 3 at once, except at the very start. Whereas J. Cortez has 3 really good notes, in my opinion, throughout the cigar. I will say it's a testament. I say that, and I've just got a bad bitter taste on the cigar. Yeah, no, it's going down now. I was about to say it's a testament that I've smoked it this far. I don't really get this far down with many cigars, but I'd say you get it down to this bit here, the last inch, you're putting it down, last inch and half an inch. There's a real bitter note that I've just got. It's not nice. Let me just swill that back with some whiskey. Lovely stuff. Going to do a review on that in a second. For me, the Puffin cigar, Skinny, is it called the Skinny? The Skinny is a perfectly pleasant cigar. It tastes fine. It has a reasonable number. It has a reasonable level of complexity. You know, 5. I'd say. What did we have? We had leather, nutmeg, chocolate, a little bit of coffee, but not much. There was some grassiness, and some earth. So leather for me, leather, chocolate, nutmeg, grassiness, and kind of earthiness. Those are the 5 major notes I'd attribute to this, and they're only the best bit of this cigar for me is the first third. You'll get after those first couple of puffs, you get a really and you retrohale. Make sure to retrohale. You get a really nice big hit of chocolate from the retrohale. And for me, this is a mild to medium cigar. Not really any strength in it at all. I think the Micheleros have a stronger flavour profile. Nicotine-wise, for me, very little. Maybe for another smoker, very standard. But in terms of strength, flavour strength, mild to medium. If you're looking for a strong cigar, I wouldn't recommend it. If you're looking for a pleasant smoke, by all means, pick one up. I think these might be better. Apologies for that. Normally that doesn't happen. I've not had that happen in ages. Maybe because of all the movement. Where was I? But maybe the other sizes that are a bit larger are better. Maybe we get some more of that filler tobacco, and maybe the filler is where the real flavour notes in that Honduran tobacco lie, and not in that kind of medium brown Habano, sun-grown Habano looking wrapper. For me, you're better set taking your money, buying a Hoya de Nicaragua Classico, or even going and buying it. If you want a stronger cigar, a Maduro or something, go pick yourself up a Quorum Maduro Corona. Go pick up a 2 Smoking Barrels if you want something nice and creamy with a lot of flavour. Or if you just want a cheap budget smoke, pick up a Michelero, pick up a Michelero Peru, or even go pick up a J. Cortez Honduran Orange Tube. Lovely, lovely cigars, and I think for budget cigars they are really nice. But for today, for me, that's everything. That's been the Puffin cigar, and a rating, of course. For me, a pleasant cigar. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing remarkable. It's a 6 out of 10 for me. And, you know, I'd rate Michelero baseline's probably 7. It's a 6 out of 10 for me. It is what it is. I hope everyone's enjoyed this. This is my first video back after a while. I'm going to be trying to upload reasonably more regularly. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I'm hoping to get at least a couple of videos up a week. At least one a week. And remember, there will be a video on this bad boy, the Elijah Craig, very, very soon after this one. So as always, stay smoky, everybody. I will see you later.